Hi there, welcome to The Disruptor. Strange title, we'll explain. Um, okay, well, I'm of a certain age. Can't say I was around at the time, but it was 1969, the summer, at Hyde Park. There was a concert there. The Rolling Stones were one of the biggest groups, obviously still around, just about, but they were definitely one of the biggest in the country at the time, and they staged a huge free concert in Hyde Park. It's the one where their guitarist Brian Jones had recently died, and it was, I think, partly to commemorate the fact and to sort of symbolise. There's a lot of symbolic stuff with, was it doves or butterflies being launched or whatever. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is their support group was a group called King Crimson. They'd only formed earlier that year, and this was their first really public concert in the sense of a big audience. All I can say is when they started, from the first note to the last, there was almost like a hushed silence. They brought something new, never been heard before. They were true disruptors. The first song they did was 21st Century Schizoid Man, which for me is still a fantastic song. They started a whole genre as a result of their first album, which is The Court of the Crimson King. But the point being is that, in a sense, they ruined the day for the Rolling Stones, because most people realise that this group, King Crimson, were far better at what they did than the Stones or anyone else on the bill. So, true disruption. So, why do I call myself a disruptor? Well, I'm not. You can see I don't look like one, and I don't act like one. I'm an introvert. I've kept my head down for most of my life. But God has inspired me to write books that basically disrupt. I can't help it. It's just what he does. I come from the outside. My background is not a traditional Christian background. I have a Jewish background, which makes me a natural disruptor, as you can realise if you know Jewish history. But since I've been writing, which going right back 20 years, probably about 20 years I've been writing. I've now published 34 books, mostly under my own label. Hard to find traditional publishers willing to take a chance. And most of my books are of a disruptive nature. So to call myself a disruptor, I think works well once you've read any of my books. Now, my books you've probably never read, you've probably never heard of me, but those that do read my books, the books tell the story, with titles like How the Church Lost the Way, How the Church Lost the Truth, The Bishop's New Clothes. I mean, these are disruptive titles. And I'm realising I have to tone down a bit, because even the titles will put people off the very people that really need to read my books. So really shot myself in the foot then, but then it's all an experience that you learn from. And now I've decided to start these, I think, weekly vodcasts to take you through my sort of writing and creative background, particularly what I'm doing now and what I'm planning to do. Because I think we're at an age now, I've been brought up on the internet. I've always been in software. I used to be a games designer at the boom in the 1980s, home computing boom. I was one of the first working professionally on the internet, literally the first in the country on interactive video, laser discs. Worked at a company that were at the forefront. Some of my adventure games that I used to write were sort of groundbreaking. I look at them now and they're rubbish, but at the time they were quite groundbreaking. So I've always been a disruptor, and I've now also started an online software sort of interactive thing, which I also called the Disruptor. And my plan is, by the end of the year, is to have all my books actually on the internet, in not just as PDFs or Word documents, but through sort of interactively displayed, so you can move between content. You know, you can read it sort of in a sense from A to B or A to Z, but you can also go sort of horizontal and do a little bit of hypertexting through it. So that's my plan, because for me the important thing is to get the message. You know, content. You know, okay, the style might be a bit iffy, though that's going to get better at the moment. The project that I'm talking about, this disruptive project, I'm calling it Blue on Gold interactive explorations, acronym. I'll leave you to figure out what is spelt out there, which may become the brand name. So it just shows you how disruptive I am. But anyway, my latest books, Awake, it's just out. I've put it out last week on Amazon, both on Kindle and print on demand, and using their they have this special deal that for 5 days they won't charge anyone for downloading on Kindle. So in those 5 days I advertised it through Facebook and my newsletter, and got to the point where last night or the night before last I just had a look at it, and I can prove this, but it ranked number one. It was number one on Amazon Kindle in the category personal development, and also number 7 in the category of self-help, which is not bad for Christian books. And the